Alright, in this tutorial we're going to talk about doing labs, and one of the differences between labs and videos can only be seen within the mentored lab. The actual labs you can do from any computer, so you can actually do the labs from home. We said the videos have the little triangle icon, labs have the little green lab beaker. So here when you come in you can click on a launch button. It does take a few minutes for a lab to launch, you'll see here. So as the screen says, it does take several minutes. And one of the things you can do, if you've never worked with multiple monitors, you can click on this top bar, and now you won't be able to see it in this video, but I can actually click and drag this onto a second monitor. So I can have the video on one side and the lab on the other. The advantage of dragging the lab to the other side is you will see when this lab starts that you'll have a start button in the bottom left hand corner. It'll be much like having a second machine, as you can see this come up here. And so to avoid confusion, you can have the lab on your second monitor that doesn't have a start menu. So here I'll go ahead and click on continue, and in this style of lab it's asking me for a password. Well, what I want to do here is come up here and click on the maximize button, and I can see now that I have machine controls. When I click on that, I can say paste the password. There are other options here such as Control-Alt-Delete, paste clipboard, refresh display you would use if you're ever having a problem with maybe your screen is looking a little strange. You could say refresh the display. If you're having issues with the machine, you would always want to contact the mentor, but there is a reboot, reset the machine, as well as turn it off. But in this case I just need to paste a password. So I'll click on that, and I can click on the arrow here, and that will go ahead and log me into this machine. And this is where you can see here on this screen it may be a little confusing because I've got a start button. This is for my virtual machine, and this start button is for the actual physical machine I'm on. You do have, depending on what kind of class you're taking, here I just have the one machine. You might have multiple machines, especially with our technical classes, so you could actually switch computers. You would have different options here. Under options, you can change the theme. In some cases, if you're having problems, you might switch this from ActiveX to Silverlight. And under overview, it's just showing me here's the introduction, which basically takes me back to that first screen that we click continue to get to this screen. So your class, you may be asked to log into a machine. I'll show you a couple different versions of labs as we go through this. Now, one of the things I want to talk about, regardless of what kind of lab you're using, is it's very tempting to click on the red X in the upper right hand corner, but if I did that I would lose everything I did in this lab. Instead, what you want to do is come down and click on exit, and then I have an option here to complete and close the lab, cancel the lab, or save and close the lab. So 99% of the time you're going to want to click on save and close the lab. So with this particular lab, we wanted to log in, so we have to use our machine commands, and again, to see those you might have to maximize your screen. Then to exit, don't click on the red X. I know that's our habit, but click on exit and click on save and close. Here it says my lab's going to be saved for 7 days. I can save up to 3 labs, and I'll say yep, go ahead and close it. And it goes ahead and close the labs, and it says you may now close your window. So when I close that, that's going to take me back to my class screen, my assignment screen, and you'll see where it says that this is running, but after a few seconds it will actually switch and say that it's been saved. Now, if you ever have a screen and you're like, why isn't there? It is, you can see it's been saved, but you could always press the F5 key on your screen to refresh the screen. So for instance, if you forgot to tell the mentor you were there, he might log you in, or she might log you in, and you could press F5 and maybe your start buttons would show up. So F5, the top of the keyboard, is a way to refresh your screen. So you can see that this has now been saved. That is one form of a lab. Let me show you another one. So here I am in an assignment. I click on launch again to launch my lab. If you ever see this screen, you just click on continue to my lab. Here again, this may take several minutes, and I can always drag this to the second computer monitor if I want to continue working on the first monitor. Now with this particular lab, this is for an application, Microsoft Word. There's no need to use the machine commands. What this does is it shows me a series of steps. and it's saying to click on Start, All Programs, etc., etc. Now, if I'm not sure where to start, if I don't understand these instructions, this green button here shows me a screenshot. It's kind of a hint. So when I click on this icon, it will show me a picture of where to click. And so here it's showing me Start All Programs. And it's very tempting to want to click on this picture. That will do nothing because it's just a screenshot. So you can just click on the green button again, or you can click on this red X. Either one will make that picture go away. Depending on the instructions, in some cases this light bulb will show illuminated, and that will give you more instructions than are provided in the original box. And in some cases this yellow exclamation point will light up. That will show you things to avoid when you're doing these steps. So once you have, if I said, okay, click on Start, All Programs, Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word, 2007, I've done that step, I can just click on Done, and the lab will advance to the next step, and it gives me another set of instructions and another hint. Once I would go through all my steps, it would tell me that I was done with the lab. And again, when you go to exit, don't click on the red X. Come up and click on Exit and click on Save and Close. As always, if you have any questions while you're doing a lab, never hesitate to contact your mentor.